Hello, it's Michael here. I just want to say thank you for the 56 subscribers now. It might not sound like a lot to you, but to me, I'm really chuffed. It's a new channel. I'm not an expert on YouTube. I've never claimed to be. I'm still learning how to use it properly. The filming, getting the microphone, the light right, um, speaking on camera. But anyway, I'll get there. But really, I just want to thank you, and I just wanted to basically introduce myself. Because you don't know who I am. I'm just some random guy that's just popped up on YouTube. So I've been teaching English for about 20 years. Yeah, 20 years. I started in 2006. Just feels like yesterday, but it flies by, sorry. So yeah, I started teaching English because I wanted to see the world. That was my main aim. I wanted to see the world, and I thought if I learn how to teach English, there's a higher chance of me being able to make money to finance that. So that's the reason I got into it. So I did. 2006, I took a Cert TESOL course, and with my degree, I have a degree in psychology, and I started teaching English. I volunteered at first, started teaching asylum seekers and workers from the European Union. We were in the EU back then. So yeah, I got a year's experience and I applied to South Korea. So I got a job in South Korea teaching English, and I trained English teachers as well, funnily enough. It was a large learning curve, but it was fun. I based myself in Korea, in Seoul. And by the way, I recommend if anyone here wants to start teaching English in a foreign country, maybe concentrate or think about South Korea, because if you have a degree and actually you don't really need experience, you can gain experience there teaching the young students. But yeah, they'll pay for your flight, they'll pay for your apartment, and tax is 3.3%. Imagine that in the UK. Insane. So you get disposable income basically. And with that disposable income, lots of people pay off their student loans or go traveling or whatever. So I was based there, and I used that as a base to travel around East Asia and Southeast Asia. So 4 years there, then I moved back. I got a job in Newcastle. I'm from Newcastle, which is northeast England, and I worked there for a few months. But this was in a summer school scenario, which was fun. And then I moved to Sicily. Sicily was fun. I was there for a year. I taught Cambridge exams. I taught the young students, starters, movers, and flyers. Then I taught KET, then PET, and then first certificate, it was called back then, which was FCE. Then I taught IELTS, which I've taught for many years now. Then I taught advanced. I also taught business. So when I was in Sicily, I worked at a school, and sometimes I would travel to a primary school or a high school or a university. I would travel to companies like Repsol, for instance. That's an oil company where I taught managers, presentation skills, and just public speaking and correcting their English. So when that was finished, I moved back to the UK. I got a job in Newcastle again at the school I worked at previously, which was basically general English, and it was taking students around different cities in the UK, London, Edinburgh, places like that, Bath, and we would do a lesson on the city, and then we would visit the city, or visit the city, then do a lesson on the city. So that was great. Then after that, I moved to, where did I move to? I moved to Oman in the Middle East. Now, Oman is very hot and it's very different to life anywhere I'd been. I mean, Asia's pretty different, but living in the desert's next level. It's out there, man. So yeah, I rode camels. I was flying around the sand in the desert in 4x4 vehicles. I taught at a college. I taught academic English and IELTS preparation. People who wanted to go on to a degree course. So it was a foundation year for English, basically. So from there, I travelled around the Middle East. So that was my base. So I travelled to Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the Emirates, places like that. And yeah, had a blast. Then moved, where did I move to? Moved back to the UK, got different summer jobs in around the UK. Yeah, got a summer job in Brighton. That was fun. With Bede. Yeah, Bede, you live at the school basically, and for 2 months or whatever, and you teach. You do evening activities and weekend activities and things like that, as well as teaching different types of English, which was fun. I recommend doing that if there are any teachers who want to teach. So after that, I moved to China. I moved to Beijing. And in Beijing, I worked at Renmin University, and it was the same. I was teaching academic English, pre-sessional English, and IELTS. Pre-sessional English is people who want to go to a British university. So they do a foundation course, and you make sure their English is on par with the necessary level to undertake academic study at a British university. So I did that. I also worked at different companies, within different companies. So I would travel to, let's have a think, Foton, it's called. Foton is a company that makes buses in Beijing. And I would teach other business people. I'd also teach on a weekend. I was making quite a bit of money because this job, they pay you a lot of money in China, or they did, and they pay for your apartment. Transport was really good, food's cheap, and I managed to save lots of money. And the reason I did that was because I wanted to do a master's course in business entrepreneurship. So I did that, finished that, and I went back to Beijing, and I was teaching boarding school students. So boarding school, they would come to me on an evening and I teach them and help them with their English, basically, whatever they needed, which was fun. I also taught on a weekend. I also had different jobs around Beijing. So after that, I came back, and luckily, I came back to England and it was just before COVID-19. So when I left Beijing, I traveled around Southeast Asia again. I went to Vietnam. I really like Vietnam. Vietnam has come on a lot. That's another place you can teach English. You can make disposable income there, and the students are great. But I had a job lined up at a university in Ho Chi Minh City, but that fell through because of COVID-19. So when I was stuck in England, I started teaching English online. Initially with me, I learned how to use Zoom, and I found some students, and I got a job with a more professional school, and they started providing me students. So that was really, really interesting. I really enjoy teaching online. There's no commute, things like that. It does get quite lonely teaching online, but the hassle of traveling to a place in the rain, the snow, you break down, traffic jams, all that is gone. My commute was basically walking across my floor. So it was really good. I recommend teaching online. It's really fun. That's another good place to start. So I've been teaching online. So I've decided to do this YouTube channel because I wanted to try something new, and I've accrued so much information over the last 20 years. I just really want to share online. I know there's lots of English channels, teaching channels, but they're all different. And they're not competitive, actually. They complement each other. So if you are watching this channel, obviously you are because you're listening to me. And, you know, when I start doing more lessons, watch the lessons, but also watch other teachers online on YouTube. You know, you've got English with Lucy. Her lessons are really good. The production quality of her lessons are really good. And you've got English with Greg, very clear, concise. But you have other teachers on there who teach in a different way. You know, Bob the Canadian, he teaches outside, which I quite like. So what I'm saying is, if you, for instance, if you want to know present perfect tense, you know, watch different teachers teaching it. It's really important, and it gives you a different perspective. You know, if you can't figure it out one way, you know, figure it out different ways. View different perspectives, different viewpoints. Interesting. So yeah, so I teach online. My website is in the description, and I do one-to-one tuition. It's basically whatever you need help with. I can teach a course, general English, or it's usually ad hoc. It's more tailor-made to your needs, but it's really whatever you want. I've got masses of experience at different levels with different curriculums. So, you know, you can use that as a resource. So check out my website. I am going to carry on making videos, and my aim is to get the production quality up. It's been a massive learning curve, but I've enjoyed it. It's a new challenge. And the reason I thought about doing this video is because this is a challenge for me, but it's also, learning English is also a challenge to you. And yeah, so the reason I'm doing this bit is because I did this video earlier in the park, but when I played it back, the wind was really, and you couldn't hear. So this introduction part of me, I've just cut out of the edit. So I've placed it with this, me, in front of a green screen and a weird light. Jesus is coming. But anyway, so the next part, you'll see me in the park. So thanks, here we go. So I teach online. If you look at the link, the website, that links to, sorry, the link in the description links to my website, and I provide one-to-one lessons. So if you're interested in any lessons, you know, give me a shout. Yeah, so if you have any other questions, you can ask me. But what else I want to talk about is the perceptions of learning English and what I've learned through the 20 years of doing this. So young children, teenagers, and young adults, really, university age, don't really like learning English. They say they do, but they don't. You know, it's not like eating ice cream. It's not that fun for them, especially from the experiences they've had from some of the other teachers that I've met in different countries over the years. It's quite an unpleasant experience, actually. So they associate English with that experience. The only reason they're there is because their parents are forcing them. Now, the parents are forcing them because they know that being able to command the English language has a direct correlation between earning money in some countries, and they want their children to be able to earn more money. They want them to be in an international company or whatever. So the motivation behind learning English is different. It's making sure that you don't upset the parents. Now, I've taught a lot of adults who regret that period of their life because they didn't listen to their parents. So they're adults, they hated learning English, and their parents tried to tell them, but they didn't bother listening. So that's a different motivation. They're in the situation where if they had have studied, they could have secured a better job. So anyway, so you teach them. With young children, I try and make it fun. With teenagers, I try and make it fun. I try and show them why they're learning it. With adults, you have to be more flexible because they have work commitments, they have children to look after. There are so many emergencies you have to deal with, and sometimes you have to reschedule a class or homework or whatever it is that they're learning. Obviously as well, English is more tailor-made. I tailor-make my classes to fit their needs. So they might be enrolled on a general English course, but in reality, they know quite a lot of English. You're just filling in the gaps to fit their employment. So if you're a student, which you probably are watching this, which I hope you are, I just want to say English it's not easy, but it's not as hard as you think. It's basically, you have to repeat, you have to learn, and if you're not sure, you have to look at it from a different angle. You know, there are lots of YouTubers, teachers on YouTube that you can look at. You know, you've got English with Lucy. Her videos are really thorough. She speaks with Queen's English, received pronunciation, so you can understand what she's saying clearly. Most of you are probably used to an American accent. I want to talk about accents. Just focus on the vowels, A, E, I, O, U. The pronunciation of vowels is slightly different regions around the world. Your job as an English communicator is to talk to people from all walks of life. It's not necessarily people from the UK or America or a native English speaking country. It's to speak to people in any country in English, because like it or not, English is the lingua franca. It is the language that people choose for international business, in communication, international politics, geopolitics, and we live in a globalized world. So just have a think about that. Don't give up. If you're finding it difficult, just take a step back and don't give up, because you will eventually get it. The number one problem that people have, that I've discovered, they're trying to learn too much at the same time, and they haven't learned the fundamentals. You know, you have to understand grammar. You have to understand the fundamentals of grammar. So if you're a lower level, think about tenses. You know, people think that there are only 3 tenses in English. They're not. There are 12 tenses. You have to think about them. Now, you don't have to think about some tenses later on, but you have to think about the earlier tenses. So if you are a lower level, then you need to think about past tense, present tense, and future tense. Past continuous, present continuous, future continuous. You know, and look at the differences between those, understand them. You know, if you're thinking about present simple, it's a simple tense. It doesn't offer a lot of information. It focuses on the noun as well. Now, present continuous focuses on the action, the ing. It focuses on what you're doing. Also think about the be verb. That's how you know what tense you're in. Is, am, are present tense be verbs. Was, were are past tense be verbs. And if you're looking at future tense, it will have will. Now, you can talk about the future, but still be in the present tense. That's not future tense. It's present tense. Always look at the be verb. It'll tell you what tense you're in. So then you look at the perfect tenses. You've got present perfect, past perfect, future perfect. Now, present perfect is something that's just happened or just finished. It's also something that starts in the past and is still happening in the future. Memorize those parts of when you use them. Past perfect and past perfect continuous. Now, the perfect tenses come a little bit later. You know, you start learning them during intermediate level. So, you know, if you're beginner or elementary, congratulations that you understand what I'm saying for a start. But, you know, don't worry too much about the perfect tenses yet. But past perfect is something finished before something else in the past. And focusing on the verb. Past perfect continuous, something finished before something else in the past, and you're focusing on the verb, not the noun. Past perfect, something finished before something else in the past, and you're focusing on the noun. Right, just in case I said that wrong. Future perfect is the same, but you're in the future. Something that finishes before something else in the future, focusing on the noun. Future perfect continuous, something finishes before something else in the future, you're focusing on the verb. So those are the basics. Also think about the vocabulary that you're learning. I know there are so many words to learn. You know, there are what some people estimate 1 million vocabulary words in the English language. Listen, you don't need to learn 1 million words. Most people use 2,500 words in their daily lives. 3,500 if they're more educated, or in the 4s if you're a university graduate or whatever. So don't worry about all of the words. Just learn the words that you need and that you use first. So if you're, you know, learn your colours, learn your nouns. Look at your house. Can you name all of the objects, all of the nouns in your house? Go to your living room. Can you name TV, sofa, carpet, ceiling, wall, a white wall? Start naming your house. Think about your actions. Think about what you're doing. Are you sitting? Are you standing? Think about what tense you're in. I am standing. I am sitting. If you focus on these first, you'll gain a decent foundation in English and then move on to the next level. So there you go. So when you're thinking about learning English as well, don't give up. Never give up. Just take a step back and just keep learning it. Just keep repeating. Just keep going over. There are lots and lots of YouTube videos. You've got English with Greg. He's very clear. If you type in English with, you'll always get someone that can teach you their perspective of the same thing. Don't just watch one YouTube video on, you know, present perfect. Watch 5. Have a look at these videos, and you'll gain a good grounding. Also, I recommend getting a teacher, especially for speaking. Definitely, if not only for speaking. You need people to correct your writing. You can do reading tests on your own. You know, you can get books. They have the answers in the back, so you can learn techniques. I mean, I recommend getting a teacher for them, but there are people who do it by themselves. If you're an autodidact, for instance. Listening as well. You know, you've got activities now where you can listen. You can listen along. You can fill in the missing gaps. You can answer the questions essentially, and the answers are in the back of the book. So you can do that part. But with speaking, a lot of people fall down because they're shy and they don't want people to ridicule them and so forth, that they just repeat sentences. I've seen this so many times. Don't do that. Go out, make mistakes, and try. You're not going to die. Just go and do it. It'll help you. If you can speak to strangers in a foreign language, i.e. English, and just keep pushing yourself, you'll gain so much confidence and you'll get used to it. Believe me, I understand. I mean, I've lived in 4 different countries where the language is not English, and I've had to learn so many words. I mean, I look ridiculous speaking Chinese, but I tried, and I learned enough to get by. I didn't really want to learn the whole language, but I learned enough to get by, and it's the same with Korean. I learned enough to get by, function in society there. So don't give up. You need to keep working on that. So when you're looking for an English teacher, find someone you like. Find someone who you click with, who you get on with. Don't just look at qualifications. Believe me, I've met very qualified people on paper. They have lots of degrees in education, but when you actually sit down with them, no. They can't relate to people. And that's really important. You have to be able to relate to people. Read the cues. How are they feeling? And so forth. So a lot of people who come straight out of university and they enter a kind of stale environment, and they go through, they might do a TESOL course, they might do their masters, they might even do a PhD, and then they end up in a university. It doesn't mean that they're really good at the subject. To be honest, it doesn't. And they'll just be regurgitating everything they've learnt. That might not be that functional, really, or receptive for people. What else? Oh, yes. Google Translator. Please stop using Google Translator. English does not translate well to other languages. If you are a beginner elementary, I understand why you might want to use it, and that is the only time where it's acceptable. Once you finish elementary level, get a dictionary like everybody else and just use it. I've met so many students over the years who've been confused for years because they translate their language into English, and they've memorized that English passage or part, and it doesn't make sense when they're relaying that or communicating that to other people. And they're confused. They haven't realized that Google Translator is the problem, so don't use it. You really do have to start using a dictionary. Dictionaries online now. When you read articles online, if you look at Kindle online, when you're reading, you can click on a word and it has a dictionary built in. Or you can use other dictionaries online. You can install dictionaries on your app. You have to learn vocabulary. You have to understand what they actually mean. When you're learning English, learn English in English. So put your language aside. You have to think in English when you're doing it. What else do I want to say? I'll have a think and I'll come back. So yeah, I just want to finish off and just basically say, if you have any questions, just send me a message. I'm going to make more videos like this. I just wanted to make this off the cuff because I've been thinking about it for a little while, but I want to make a more in-depth version. But as I say, if you have any questions, let me know. And yeah, if you want to follow me on this, subscribe. I really appreciate it. Thank you.